Good afternoon. Good evening. I'd like to thank you all for coming to this special edition of America in Black and White. This is the official podcast for my site, but we will be officially kicking off America in Black and White on April 25th. So, this is just a special edition that will be chatting. I'll be talking about some things that's currently taking place right now here in America and what's happening right now. There are a lot of things that's actually got a lot of people on edge. The first thing I want to speak about is politics. Right now, the politics that are taking place here in America is affecting those that are less fortunate to in a much difficult way in which people cannot just afford to live, have privacy, and do the things they like to do in their everyday lives. For an example, we've got people like um, the guy that filled the seat in the White House after President Barack Obama, which is a void in our history. We have this man that has been going around, and he has been committing several crimes. The crimes that he's committed is amazing that we have this dual justice system that we're all under has actually taken the time to say that he's innocent until proven guilty, but all the facts have already been played out throughout the media. And I like to thank mainstream media for being about as two-faced as it could possibly be, because before this came to be, the media actually had some time to where they actually put together several pieces of things that they had done investigative journalism on and found facts that were true to be. Now they're coming back and saying that the crimes that he's going to be charged for, he should not be charged for because there's no way that you could prove it. Well, I mean, so allegedly, as is being put out from campaign fraud, business fraud, rape, um, anything that you can name, even tax evasion. This guy has done it, and he's still not being, put before a jury in order to make things happen. Well, I don't see that they're going to do that. And the reason why I don't think they're going to do that is because, one, now that everybody knows, and all the facts, of course, have not come out. So I can understand that to some extent. But for what's factually being told and what has been put out to this point is nothing but a crime. With this being said, the politics of all of this is causing a lot of friction and is causing an enormous amount of problems for those people that are being repressed. Those being repressed are those that are minorities, and they range from African Americans to Asians. And so, with that being said, um, the repression is real because now the less fortunate communities that now cannot afford to live, people can't afford to eat the things that they want to eat because the price gouging that's happening is unbelievable. We're talking about inflation and we're talking about recession, a recession that's around the corner. Well, if that's the case, then what should be happening is we should be doing something to actually make things normalized for everyone to live, because that is the responsibility of our government. But well, I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen, because if that was the case, then most of us would actually would have resources available that would be there to help us, when times are hard and when you can't afford to just live from day to day. Well, having a job is just not enough. And most of these jobs today, they're not paying a decent living wage. People can't live off $7. People can't live off $10. But let it be told by most companies, that is from mid-sized companies to large companies, that we're paying good wages and you should be happy with that. Well, some people are not happy with that because people have decided early in the year that they would quit because wages are just not livable. Well, in that case, what do you do if you've got a small workforce, but also you want to charge people an astronomical amount of money for either everyday living food or health items? How can you think that it is really a good thing for people to pay almost $3 for a candy bar? Now, I want you to think about that. How many of you honestly believe that a candy bar it should be $2.75? That's crazy. Now, I know when I was a kid coming up, and I understand that things change and times change and the world is evolving. That's understandable. But there's a difference in being profitable and gouging. Because I can remember, and this is the honest to God truth, I can remember when things such as bread being a nickel or a dime, I can remember it being a quarter. I can remember candy being a quarter. But fast forward 40 years, and now here we go. The price of candy is almost $3. This happens at the gas tank, and this also happens when it comes to retail. So what is happening is you have two sides here that actually control Washington. You've got Democrats and you've got Republicans. Neither party are doing their due diligence. Neither party is doing what they're supposed to do in order to make this world a better place for each and every individual that's on the face of this earth. It's obvious that Republicans do not care, because for them, if you're not rich and you're not in that 1%, they could give less than a damn about you. But the thing that's strange about it is they actually have those very same people that stormed the Capitol and are running around here that's shooting and killing people like crazy, believing that somebody's actually trying to steal something from them. You have got to be kidding me to say that these people are not thinking that they are voting against their own interests. They can stand there and they can lie to those very people that are friends of theirs that don't support them and say they don't support them, but they go to the polls and they vote for these people. Voting against your own interests, I mean, it's like really the old cliche of cutting off your nose to spite your face. These are the people that I guess it's just going to take a whole bunch of time, and we don't have enough time in order for these people to come around. Because right now, the democracy that we thought we had, that's almost halfway destroyed, is basically at the tipping point right now that is basically going to tip. Now, I can't speak for none of these folks, just personally, but what I do wonder is, how is it that you can sit there and you can basically say, I'm going to vote for these people that say, I'm cutting off Social Security. I don't want you to have the right education to where you'll be able to learn things about each and every culture and the real culture of this country. Or that you deserve to have the monies that you want to have, well, that you should have, that you earn, that even gets you medical attention or get you health insurance. They don't even want people to have health insurance. But we have these people that are running around here, this bottom 30% of the country. These are the people that are causing the uproar, and these people are trying to lead this country in the minority, which is basically taking over everything that's going on with politics. The gun lobby is the one thing that's really causing the main problem. Just this morning in downtown Louisville, Kentucky, there was a mass shooting. Prior to that, there was a mass shooting in Tennessee. I mean, how many of these are we going to have where innocent people are being gunned down for no reason? All because of one person telling a big lie, a major lie. They know it's a lie, but they're not doing anything about it. If this was the everyday person that told the lies that caused all of this uproar and was trying to take over and destroy the government, these people would have these people under a jail, executed, whatever have you. But this one man is destroying democracy before our very eyes, and nobody is doing anything about it. Now, we supposedly have the Justice Department that's supposed to do justice. But if they were going to do justice, then they would have done that already. Is that going to happen? I'm not sure. If it does, God help us all. God help us all. But it's so rough that look at what just happened or what just transpired in Nashville, Tennessee last week. They, according to the two state representatives that was just banned or expelled from the state capitol in Nashville, Tennessee, they were told that they abused and broke some rules of according to what the state capitol says. Now, they could have that in their state capitol, which I don't really know. I haven't read anything that would say to me that they broke any laws, but they were expelled. They were expelled, and they publicly have admitted that ever since they got there to the state capital of Tennessee, that they were targeted by the GOP members. That includes the House Speaker. So if that's the case, I think that's breaking a law, because that's basically displaying what racism is. There were three people, these two young men and one young lady. Okay? She gets to keep a seat. The two of them are expelled. The difference, they're black, she's white. The House Speaker, he's white. Most of the GOP in Tennessee, in that state capital in Nashville, they are white. I am most likely to believe these young men that they were targeted, because targeting of people that are that can speak and explain and tell the stories of what is true and help situations that should be, and doing the causation of why they were elected to come to the state house. And this is basically for every representative in the country. That is, if it's state or if it's the national, which is the U.S. Capitol. You're all there to represent your constituents. If you can't represent your constituents, then why are you there? So people are protesting the law of the gun lobby and having something done, because people are killing people with AR-15s. So if they're killing people with AR-15s, why is that not a problem? The problem is the NRA and those that are above the rest, that people don't really want to find out who they are saying you will not. And I repeat, you will not ban the AR-15 or pass any laws that are going to that states anything about what's happening when it comes to guns in this country, because they do not want to ban. And if they don't want to ban, what that means is those people that they're funding for their political campaigns will not get any money to keep a seat, which tells you that these people would rather keep a seat than to represent the people that voted for them. My thing is, in looking at this, why not do your due diligence, that is to the American public? Why not do your due diligence and vote these people out? Because if they're not representing you and they're not doing what they're supposed to do, then there are other ways that you can show them. And what that means is, if you don't get on the ballot, you can do write-in campaigns, especially on the national level. Because on the national level, I mean, it's clear that politicians have problems in doing their jobs when it comes to representing constituents. I'm going to give you a prime example. That prime example is, let's say, of the African American community. The representatives that are being sent to the U.S. Congress in particular, this is also the state and state houses as well. These people that are being voted for, they're not doing anything to represent the African American community. Because if they were doing anything to represent the African American community, then they would be demanding of these laws to be in place that would be a benefactor that would help those communities as time progresses. Let's talk about politicians, especially those that want the black vote. That even includes the black politicians. What do? They go and they tell you they're going to do all these things that are going to represent you, and that's going to help your life, and make things easier for you, and truly they're there to fight for you, and that's their whole thing. Well, that's not true. If that was the case, they have this thing in the U.S. Congress that's called the Black Congressional Caucus. And all that time that particular caucus has been caucusing together, there has not been one law, one rule that has made a serious impact in the African American community. Not one. And now what's happening now, those that have been there for 35, 40 years, they're now running for cover because they realize now that most people are not going to vote for them anymore. My thing is, if you're going to vote for anyone, it doesn't matter who it is, please make sure you vet that candidate and make sure that candidate is going to do his or her due diligence by you. I can say for the African American community, that has not been. Those same folks that are running for these political offices are afraid to even be seen with someone that looks like them. They're afraid to say they want to do bills that are going to be a benefactor for the black communities. Everything has to be broad in general. They can't say, oh, this is for the black community. But when it comes to any other ethnicity, people don't have a problem with saying, oh, well, we got to do this for these folks, these folks, these folks, and these folks. We also know how divide and conquer works, because that's working more so in the African American community than any community there is. Anytime most of us get smart enough to want to work together, which we should be doing, and building, we can be that major force. And that's what we should be doing. Instead, we're not doing that. Because what that would entail is we will be able to start those businesses that we want to start. We can get that education that we want to give to our kids and others. And we can also talk about having finances that are benefacting us and not just one particular group. Right now, politics is like all over the place. And the thing that's more prominent now than anything is the repression still of the minorities. and it's just prominent. I guess there's nothing that most of us can do unless we decide that we're going to come out of this coma that we're in, and we're going to go and do the things that's necessary to build our communities. If we don't build our communities, we can't do anything. It's all about building our communities. And I really think that if there's anything that we can do or anything we should be doing, that is the one thing that we should be doing. Because I think when, as you look at, if you want to look at a generational wealth and look at it from an ethical and ethnicity perspective, African Americans are on the bottom, and they're on the bottom because of one thing. That is 400 plus years of repression that's still going on and still being denied. We still have people talking about how much progress we've made. We've made some progress, but we haven't made as much progress as we should have within these last 50 years. So if that growth is 50 years slow, that means that that growth is never going to come. I'm still trying to understand that even from that point. Let's go to the state of Tennessee. For what they did in Tennessee, that was openly and honestly one of the most racist things I think people in this country has ever seen. Are we really going to allow things like this to happen and nobody says anything? Except you get some folks that want to stand up and they want to act like they want to scream and do this, that, and the other. But nobody's actually standing up to those folks that are committing open racism against those two representatives from the state of Tennessee, but also nationally. And the reason why is because nobody cares, and it's supposed to happen, and they want to see that to continue to happen. When I say they, those people that listen to what I'm talking about, they know exactly who I'm talking about. They know who I am talking about, because it's definitely not hidden. This is real. This is real. How is it that Tennessee can find it so repressing, so appalling, that they've got to write a bill to ban drag shows, but they can't put their heads together to put a ban on an AR-15? Really? What is it that a drag show can do to a kid vice guns to a kid? Tell me. Help me understand that. And you get Florida, which I'm still not understanding why any person would support that state after that governor has done and said the things that he's done. Anytime he tries to take away the culture and the real history of this country and say, we're talking about critical race theory, there's no such as critical race theory. Critical race theory is only what's in your mind of what's the truth. The truth hurts. And for those that don't want to hear the truth, yeah, they're going to jump on board with that like it's nothing. But I'll tell you this. I think when people start boycotting and keeping their dollars in their pockets, I think the state of Florida will understand that. I don't even understand how our federal government can even fund and give money to that state that is openly telling Black people that they have no history, they can't be taught their history, and their history is just irrelevant. Black people didn't exist according to Ron DeSantis in the state of Florida. Now, I want to know, how is it that he's allowed to do these things and the federal government still funds him that money? Is the federal government a part of that, or are they not? Because if they are not a part of that, then what needs to be said is they need to make sure that there are some repercussions for making this judgment. Now, if it was someone running a small business that did what Ron DeSantis has done, that state and the federal government will be all over you, sanctioning and finding ways of just totally just getting rid of you. But anytime you got kids that you want to go to school to learn, and your kids can't learn what happened and their origin, I really don't understand where do you get history from if you're not learning that. Because Black history is American history. Because it's the Black folks that built the country. It's the Black folks that built the country. And all the monuments and everything that you find as a national treasure, the slaves took care of that and did that. But let it be told, that's not true. That supposedly, Black folks were always just what they are, just nothing, just irrelevant. Well, I'll tell you this, culture-wise, if you want to learn what these other countries are doing, such as coming up with this thing that they're calling kings and queens, then if that's the case, you want to learn the origin of where it came from. It came from Africa. That means that stolen culture that they're capitalizing on, that is false. Think about that and put that in your cap. Because when we talk real, that's real. So I still want to ask the question, why are people, especially if you're an African American, why would you vacation in the state of Florida when the state of Florida has nothing for you? The state of Florida is not a state that's going to benefit you in any shape, form, or fashion. Yep, I said that because it's true. They'll never get another dime from me. I will never, ever go to that state. Never. When we talk about education, education is a very high profile situation. That everybody has to learn, and everybody needs to learn things to keep the mind smooth, thinking, keeping it processing. I think from a historical context, everybody needs to know their history, where they came from. Everybody needs to know how things function and operate in their day-to-day living, such as how is it that business is formed, what it means to have a business, and how you grow that business. If you're not doing those things, then I want to understand, what is your purpose? Because you need to know your purpose. If you're a creator, you want to get some ideas, some structures, or some understandings as to what are the things that I need if I want to become a film producer, if I want to become a writer, if I want to become a director, if I want to own an entertainment company that produces film. You want to learn all these things. But when you learn all these things, you shouldn't learn it the way you have to give your whole life in order to get that learning. It's amazing that the pricing of college has gone up at least 25% every year for the past 15 years. So that now it's totally unaffordable. But some people are still trying to get into college because they know what they want and they want to do some things that's going to better their lives. But it's like a sacrifice. You want this education, but you got to give your whole life. When you say give your whole life, that is, you've got to go into this debt. And the debt that you go into now for college educations is just unbelievable. I mean, it's debt that you'll never pay off in a lifetime. You'll never pay it off in a lifetime. And I can honestly tell you that that's a real thing because I've got student loan debt. And the student loan debt is so high that, it's almost like, you just want to give up. And so you got some folks that refuse to have any kind of relief for student loan debt. Why? It's because if if I'm one of those that's favored, or if I'm entitled, or if I get that pass, then I don't have to worry about that. Because when it comes to student loan debts, I mean, it's just unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So now you got some folks that's dead that they say they still owe for student loans. Is that really true? How can you pay a debt if you're dead? I forgot. You got family, you got survivors. So they can always attack the estate. You're going to pay that loan one way or the other. But just let it be known that I will tell you, I just don't understand why the price of colleges are continuously rising. Why is it that we can't teach our kids in K-12, that's first to the 12th grade? Why can't we teach them, all the skill sets that they're going to need going up through high school, that if they just need to get a trade, then that would be good. Supposedly, quote unquote, that's where we are now, but that's not true either. Because, if you want the real business career where you're looking at maybe being financial planners and advisors and things of that nature, that doesn't come through a trade. You're actually going to have to get the real college degree. You're going to have to get in debt, that $150,000, $200,000, before you even get the chance to breathe. That don't seem fair, but it's true. You look at all of the other countries outside of the US, they're not having the same issues when it comes to college debt, because people get to go to college for free and learn. They even get to come over here to the United States and learn. But when it comes to going to being a foreign student in other countries, that depends upon who you are, if you're going to get that break. Some people get that opportunity, but most people don't. How do we make that happen for those that want to study abroad? I mean, hey, everybody's going to do what they're going to do. But for me, I just find this to be a really horrible thing. I really do. And I want to find a way to fix this, because I know I can. And I think with the help of each and every person that's on this live stream right now, we could get together and we can plan, and we can put things in the minds of folks that, the ones that want to do a job that's in the political arena, in our state houses, or our U.S. representatives that really want to do the work for us. We can really put real plans to action and make sure that it happens. But for most of us, that's not the case, because it just seems like it's the hardest thing in the world to get that opportunity. And let me tell you what I'm talking about when it comes to that, because that really is stuck in my craw. My representative, my U.S. representative, I never see him until it's close to the election time, where I get this little flyer and there's this fake job fair that's being given. I can never, and I've never had the opportunity to actually do a sit down or do one of the town hall meetings, because I'm only notified about the town hall meeting the same day that has happened. So therefore, I'm not going to get the opportunity to get in. Fortunately, I've been to Washington, D.C., but in wanting to do a tour through the Capitol, I can never get a tour to go through the Capitol. Never. But I've always seen the folk that do get to go to the Capitol and do a tour, and it's always the same people or the people from the same area that gets to do all of this. So I'm assuming that when you just think that whole process out, my representative is not working for me. He's not working for me. He don't care what I think because I follow him on the Congress app and I've sent him several emails, but never got a response. And the reason why I'm not going to get a response is because I'm asking the right question. But I think in order to change all that, that means that I probably need to run against him for that seat and tell the people, as I'm speaking to you all now, why is it that I make this difference? We don't need a part-time representative. We need a full-time one. So just when it comes down to our educational processes, I mean, I think the public school system has not been perfect, but it's been best for a lot of us. And when you try to compare public and private, and now they're trying to privatize everything, how can you privatize education when we have a governmental system that people paying taxes for that's supposed to work? We're not talking about taking all the tax dollars for education and throw them to the private schools, and you make the public schools suffer, where you got so many closings and there's so much shortage of resources and things of that nature that it's hard to teach and it's hard to learn. That's a forced thing. That's a real thing that's being created, and it is being put in full force right now, that it's going to continue. I tell you, we've got to work on this educational system, because if I truly had kids that were in the K-12 system, I most likely would homeschool my children, because the educational system is just a failure in general. You want to come up and find ways to make schools be better than others. That's not even a real competition. Because if you want to throw all the money at one area, then of course there's a whole bunch of resources. But in the process of having all those resources don't get you the best of what you're supposed to have. Because if the folks that are getting those good resources don't know what they have and why they have it, what are they learning? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I just find it to be really, really crazy. But it also takes me back to our justice system. We have a justice system that we have two. We have, we can say we have the one for the rich and we have the one for the poor. We have the one for the whites and we have the one for the blacks. So it seems like to me it's saying, if you want to get in trouble and you're black, you don't have resources, we know where you're going. You're going to jail. And all of these states, especially the southern states, are waiting on you, and they're forcing you there because they're building newer and better prisons. Newer and better prisons. So they got a place for you. They can get that free labor from you, and you can build everything else for this country, but you're doing it for free. Yeah, that's what you're doing. You're doing it for free. So if you like doing that kind of stuff, more power to you. I don't. I do what I have to do, and the rest is history. But my reason for doing this is because there's so much going on right now. And it's like, for what's happening right now, there's nothing that's going to be a benefactor that's going to pull a lot of people in, to give them opportunities to make things right. and to just help in general with their own situations. I mean, hell, I mean, I'm doing this, but hell, I'm not a rich man. I'm nowhere close to being a rich man, but I am for my fellow man. I can tell you that. And I'm here to try to give you guys this opportunity to be a part of what I would love to see being built as this everlasting legacy that's going to hold people accountable that are in spaces that people have put them in when they're accountable to the people. There's one way or other, these folks have to be accountable. And so what we have to do is we have to know what the system says, how the system is supposed to work. And we use that to our advantage to make it more beneficial for ourselves. How do we make it beneficial for ourselves? Take that time. If it's 5-10 minutes a day, if it's 20 minutes, 30 minutes a day, take that and say, if you want to learn more about the Constitution, if you want to learn more about your state constitution and your state representatives and how they're supposed to function and operate, learn that. You learn that because what's going to happen is when that opportunity comes, when you want to take that stand, you want to go to the Capitol because you're more than able to do that because your tax dollars pay for it. You go and you ask those questions that you need to ask. You make things beneficial for yourself when you get smarter about it. We all have to be smarter about this political process because it's the political process that's selling off the country, that's leading to the downfall of many, many innocent people that don't want any part of that system. It's like one fell swoop, like a big old fish net that's out there in the Atlantic Ocean, that when they throw that net out there and they pull it back, it's full of fish. That fish is all of us. So let's learn this system together. Let's break it down piece by piece, page for page, time for time. If we're going to set a goal that some of us out there that's got some real concerns, real issues that you want to discuss, and those things that you want people to know how you're feeling, we can start here and we can move it higher. That's the whole purpose of this. I need you all to hit that subscribe button. I need you all to make your comments, and I need you all to be here every day. There's a live stream until the actual podcast, American Black and White, kicks off on April 25th. I need to see each and every last one of you here every day, making it known that what's happening right now, you're not happy with it, and you have a grievance. If you got that grievance, we're going to help solve that grievance, and we're also going to get this to the people that it needs to get to. We're going to do that. We're going to make that happen. And how we make that happen is called teamwork. It's not about one person. It's not about one figure. It's about all of us. This is for all of us. I know for some, you're going to say, no, that ain't for me. It ain't for me because I don't look like you. I don't act like you. I am speaking out, which you're not doing. But for that small percentage of people, I'm still here. And I'm still going to be here. And I'm going to be here because you need my help regardless of the case. I need your help regardless of the case. And when I say I need your help because I need you to be here helping me to get this word out to the rest of the people that's out there around this country. Because everybody needs to know that it's time for us to all come together and do the things we need to get done. We've got problems here in our country, and we can solve them. Yep, we got a problem with race. We got a political problem. We've got an economical problem. We've got an educational problem. And last but not least, but most important, we've got a justice problem. It's amazing that people can say the problems and the grievances that I'm speaking of, most people are saying that that does not exist. And if you can sit there and you can say that in your face that that does not exist, that's a problem. And the reason why that's a problem, and those people know it's a problem, is because they are not willing to do the right thing. The right thing is to confront all of these issues and bring them to a head and sit down and solve these things in a way that is supposed to be solved. Now, earlier I made the statement about Republicans and the NRA and the gun issue and so forth, but I'm not leaving out the Democrats because there's just as many Democrats that's all for that same reform, that same that gun issue as well, where they are refusing to do what they have to do. There's a lot of them, but they can't throw the rock and hide their hands either because they have to be held accountable just like everybody else. We're all here in this country and we've all done the things that we need to get done. So I'll just tell you this. My accountability factor is from being a veteran to at this point right now is that, yes, I've served this country and I served it honorably. I served it where it benefited each and every last one of us, each and every individual out there. Because, yeah, I did put my life on the line. But I did it because I wanted to, and I did it because I wanted to do what was best at that time. So even past that, to present day, I'm still holding myself accountable, and I want to hold everybody else accountable because our world is falling apart so fast until I don't even know if we'll be able to pick up the pieces. It really is. This ain't a scare tactic. This is for real. Because a lot of you from an economic perspective don't even realize that when the feds are continually raising rates like they are, and we're talking about inflation the way it is, well, I want you to think about it. 5 interest rate hikes. 5. If we have that many interest rate hikes, what makes you think that right now we're in almost at the end of the second quarter from the government's perspective because of the fiscal year? It's the second quarter. But from all other business perspectives, it's the first quarter. So I want you to think about it. If we're almost at the end of the first quarter on one side and the second quarter on the other, that is telling you that as this inflation is slowing down, it's slowing down, but we're about to have a major, major recession. Major. So what that means is people are going to need to learn what survival skills are. You're going to need to learn why you need to save money, why you need to stock up on resources, and why you must live frugal at this time. This is not the time to spend money the way people have been spending it. People should have realized that after the third interest rate hike by the feds. When after that third hike, people should have stopped spending money because there's so much money now in the economy that is oversaturated, and now people can charge prices for anything. The government's not going to get people for gouging because profits are more than it's ever been. And there's no company that's going to say, oh, well, I got a moral compass, so I'm going to bring back the prices down to where they were. No, that's not going to happen. That 250% that they've raised them prices by, that's going to continue. That's going to continue. And those dividends that are being paid in all those big companies, they're going to continue to pay them. So as they're paying these dividends, they got all this profit. You're not getting a pay raise, but they're getting bonuses. How does that get you? What it should make you think about is, instead of serving somebody else that doesn't have you as a main purpose or focus for the labor that you do, you should think about it as to either doing something for yourself or maybe working with somebody that's going to help you build what you want to build. Because all of these companies, especially people that are going out spending all their money, I really can't see it. I can't see it. I mean, if like in my community that I want to help build, everything I do is going to be about my community. It's not about what's outside of it. Because if I want my community to grow, that's where I put my money. I don't want to run almost 100 miles on the other side of town and say, I want to patronize over here, but I live over here and not patronizing, and infrastructure and everything else is falling, crumbling to the ground. That doesn't make sense. That's not even an oxymoron. That is just basically, that is 100%, shall I say, of being unaware, unattentive, and just not caring. Everybody needs to care about where they live. If you care about where you live, care for where you live, then you will do what's necessary in order to make this the way it should be. I have faith in each and every individual that's watching this, because I know that there's something that has been spoken that has basically got your attention. That's the whole thing about this. It's meant to be thought-provoking, but also it's meant to be something that's going to help people to want to be motivated and to build. It's all about building. All about building. So I want to say to each and every last one of you, I want to thank you for taking the time, for listening to this, also for participating, and just whatever your thoughts are, please leave comments, because the next time that I do one of these, I really want to make sure that everybody can be a part of this. So on Blue Monday, I want to say good evening, good day, and please have a blessed evening. And I wish you all nothing but the best. Please subscribe, leave comments, and please follow us the next time that we do another live stream, because I want to make sure that when we say American Black and White, that it's just that. Thank you all, and please have a good day.